This runs so deep.
Oh, for sure.
I hate this team. I do not respect this team. I despise this team, and I'd like us to drive them into the center of the earth. Michigan State. I feel the need, because I know that there's a lot of Ohio State fans obviously listening to the podcast. I feel the need to kind of set the scene, because I don't know that Ohio State fans, I think you get it, because we've done this for long enough.
A few times.
But like, I don't think Ohio State fans understand how much of a rivalry this is. And I'll have people ask me, well, you know, my cousin from such and such, he said Michigan State's a bigger rival than Ohio State. No, they're not.
No, get out of here.
The only place that it might be is maybe with certain individuals, right? So if you live in Grand Rapids or you live in Ypsilanti, and you know, well, your brother went to Michigan State, but you went to Michigan. That happens, right? Well, my dad's side of the family all went to state, but my mom's side of the family all went to Michigan. For those individuals or those families, that might be a bigger rivalry. For a fan base, no, it's both not even close, and yet, and this is the point I want to emphasize, and yet this runs so deep.
Oh, for sure.
I hate this team. I do not respect this team. I despise this team, and I'd like us to drive them into the center of the earth. In case you were wondering how much pacing and anxiety I will have on Saturday night. Also, can we stop kicking this game off at 7:30?
I love that it's a good old-fashioned night game.
The last time this happened, 7:30 kick at Spartan Stadium was 49-0. I'd accept that again. There's a lot of places you could go to talk about this game for Michigan. Let's start with the Michigan State offense. This will not surprise anybody, but as goes Aidan Chiles, so goes Michigan State. Mm-hmm. Aidan Chiles is their best rusher. He's obviously their best passer as well, which may or may not be saying much of anything. But the run game goes through Aidan Chiles as well. Outside of Chiles, Michigan State, like, there's not being able to run the ball, Ohio State, and then there's not being able to run the ball. This was an incredible stat against Indiana this week. Now, granted, Indiana's got a good defense. Mekhi Frazier, who I guess would be considered Michigan State's lead running back, Mekhi Frazier ran for 0.1 yards per attempt. He had 7. He gained 1 yard. 0.1 yards per attempt. So, I mean, like, this offense for Michigan State struggles on the ground outside of Aidan Chiles, and that's obviously what makes him so dangerous. He's a mysterious quarterback to try to analyze, right? And maybe you would agree with this as well, because he will have these games where he went like 9 of 23 in the entire Nebraska game. He went 8 of 17 for 66 yards against UCLA before he got pulled, and then threw for 300 yards on Indiana.
Well, in his defense, the Nebraska and UCLA game, he got hurt in both of those.
Sure.
So while that doesn't take away from the stats, I mean, those stats are But
we've got a wide body of work to look and see that he's not that great. But then he suddenly puts on a performance like that against Indiana.
I think you've seen flashes of it where he's been really good. I don't really count those games. I mean, you can look at him because he wasn't effective really at all and then got hurt. What I look at is he is their only player, and they still rank 108th in the FBS and total yards per game, which shows just how one-dimensional that offense really is.
Now I will say, I would disagree that he's their only good player, especially on the offense side.
But like you said, he's the person that runs all of it.
Nick Marsh is going to be the big focal point for the Michigan defense, right? I mean, Nick Marsh is literally Keon Coleman on Michigan State.
Well, Amari Kelly has been great too. They've got some good wide receivers out there.
Where you look at a guy like Keon Coleman who played at Michigan State and you went, oh man, this kid is really good. And then he went to Florida State and was like, oh man, he's really good because he has a quarterback now. And now, I mean, now he's in the NFL. Like, Nick Marsh is a great receiver if Chiles can get him the ball. And that's been part of the problem, is that their offensive line is basically useless. Mm-hmm. It's basically just 5 beanbags. And Michigan, like, they can't protect. They can't create run gaps. So of course the run game struggles. Like, this offense is not good. But here's what I would say. if Michigan reverts back to the weird wink stuff where we are just sending guys like crazy, you will get burned. You don't need Michigan needs to roll out the Washington game plan, right? Like Aidan Chiles,
interceptions every single
Aidan
game.
Chiles is a poor man. You know, it's great value. DeMond Williams, that's Aidan Chiles. If Michigan insists on let's just send the house every time, guess what? Like he can throw a screen pass, right, and get torched that way. You don't need to do that. This offensive line can't protect him. If Michigan stays with kind of that Washington-esque game plan as far as the way that they handle the quarterback, they will be fine. If we revert back to whatever that was against USC, we're trying to do all this funky stuff, that's where Michigan's going to get into trouble.
I think this game is just always interesting because we had similar thoughts going into last year's game where Michigan's quarterback play was just atrocious, just awful.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that anymore.
We walked into that game going, well, they're going to be outplayed by the quarterback position. It's going to come down to how effective can they be at running the ball. And to be honest, that was a relatively close-ish game last year at Ann Arbor. Yeah. I mean, it was a gritty win. And so I'm looking at it.
Michigan got dominated for, 20 of the first 30 minutes of that football game.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking at this, and as much as I want to go, well, yeah, I mean, statistically, Michigan State should be outplayed in almost every single category. There's still that part of the rivalry that having been there, even as an OSU guy, I can feel. You just walk into an arena and you can just feel the tension in the air. This game always has that.
Yeah.
It just always does. This is a game where it doesn't matter the record. No. You've seen it with Ohio State and Michigan. You throw that paper out. It doesn't matter. And so we can read you stats all day. It really is a 50-50 coin flip most years. Granted, when Michigan was really dominant, had McCarthy in them, it wasn't really a 50-50. You pretty much knew what was going to happen.
And I don't even know if I'd say it's 50-50, but I fully agree with you that look at the landscape of college football. Mm-hmm. Anybody, any given Saturday. I mean, it's just the reality. And so, especially then you add in the ingredient of a rivalry game, am I sitting here going, there's no way Michigan State could win this game? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. I just gave you a huge way that Michigan State could win it. If Michigan tries to run this ridiculous defense that they don't need to, yeah, Chiles is a talented quarterback. He's Jekyll and Hyde. He's hot and cold, and the cold has seemed to win out because Michigan State has turned the ball over like crazy. Turnover margin. Michigan is plus for the season. Michigan is +9 turnover. That's one of the best in the country. Michigan State is -3.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant. And that's kind of what I mean, where Chiles, you see the athleticism. He can throw for 300 on Indiana. And they got beat 38-13, And so it's tricky. I do want to, we'll predict it here. I do want to mention their defense.
They have one?
Well, in theory.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Their rush defense is actually kind of okay. Like it's not great. It's middle of the road. It's a middle of the road rush defense. The secondary is atrocious. The secondary is just absolutely terrible. And so this is a much worse defense than Washington has. But the way that they line up reminds me of Washington, where it's like, okay, like you're going to have to work to run the ball a little bit, but you should be able to pass the ball well. And we saw how Michigan handled that against Washington. This should be, at least on paper, this should be an easier task than that. And Michigan was able to handle that without much issue. Michigan State doesn't get to the quarterback terribly well, which means Bryce should have time, which helps explain some of that passing proficiency. If you can't pressure the quarterback, you can't sack him. You give a college quarterback time. Even if they're not all that good, like they're going to be able to find ways to beat you. And then I mentioned the turnover margin. I feel like that's likely to continue. I won't read you all the stats that I wrote down. Actually, I'm going to read you some of them because I really enjoyed this one. They gave up 400 yards and 38 points to UCLA. They gave up 350 yards and 24 points to Youngstown State. And this is actually my favorite one. 1-6 Boston College. They gave up 450 yards, 40 points, and it took them double overtime to beat them. So
they're not good. Yeah. They rank like 121st in FBS in scoring. They give up almost 33 points a game. It's not even going to be close.
So you hit me with your prediction, then I'll summarize my thoughts here and we'll move on.
I got Michigan 38, Michigan State 10.
I like that.
That I feel pretty confident in that. But Michigan State, the past couple of games, has routinely given up 30 plus. They averaged giving up 33 points a game to their opponent. This feels like a game you get another week to get Haynes back, get him healthy. The way Jordan Marshall has been playing, the emergence of Andrew Marsh. I really like the weapons that Michigan is starting to develop. They're going against just an atrocious defense. Yeah. And so I think Nick Marsh, I think Amari Kelly, I think Aidan Chiles is gonna have a good day. I don't see an avenue. I don't think, even if they were to get into a shootout, I just don't trust their defense over the Michigan defense right now.
And I think the way that the Michigan defense played, again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but I really do think that is the determining factor in this game. At least one of them. If Michigan rolls out the same game plan defensively, they will be fine.
I think in a game plan like they did against USC, I don't think.
See, I disagree with you though. I think they will get burned.
I just don't think that Michigan State's offense is explosive enough. I mean, you're comparing Michigan State's offense to USC. Playing the defense against a team like USC, whose offense is elite, versus Michigan State, who could score some points potentially if you play that.
I woun't say
it's just different.
I wouldn't say I'm comparing them as much as I'm saying that I think that there are some comparisons that you can draw. I think that Michigan's going to roll out the same game plan we saw on Saturday, and so I think it'll be a moot point. But that's it feels almost like it's not quite as distinct, but it almost feels like the only way Ohio State can lose this game is if they keep running at the defensive tackles that are going to the NFL, and then they did the thing. Mm-hmm. It feels like the only way Michigan can lose this game is if Michigan decides to just keep sending the house when they just simply don't need to do that. Please don't do the thing. That is my request. Please don't do the thing. Michigan's offense, especially if Justice Haynes is good to go, should be able to do just about whatever they want against this team. This is a road game for Michigan. It's a different type of road game. Michigan State's not very good. You're going to get a huge influx of Michigan fans there. He's a Michigan kid. Bryce Underwood's a Michigan kid. He knows what this rivalry means. And so I feel like it may take him a moment to kind of settle himself in. Because those emotions, he plays with energy and I love it. But I think that the emotions, they talk about don't get too low, don't get too high. I think we're going to need him to kind of not be a true freshman for a minute, kind of ease your way in there. That's going to be on coaching to say, hey, just go through your progressions. It may take him a quarter to settle down here. I am going to take Michigan covering the 14.5 point spread. I'm going to take Michigan 45.
Okay.
And Michigan State 6.
Not a missed extra point or
a couple field goals.
2 field goals.
Because even if it takes Michigan a second to settle in, and I've actually said this on past Michigan State games, where Michigan State Michigan struggled with giving up that first drive. They didn't against Washington. But you're like you mentioned, you're in a high energy rivalry game. If I hate this team, how much more do these other guys standing across hate these guys? It takes you, especially on the road, it takes you a little bit to kind of slow down and not get all juiced up, not get too hot, and kind of settle in. So, I wouldn't be surprised if, kind of like the Indiana game, if Michigan State goes up 3-0 early and everyone goes, oh, it's late first quarter, we're down 3-0. It would not shock me, even if this game was it wouldn't shock me if this game was 17-6 at the half. And everyone's kind of looking around. Be patient. Be patient. You don't have to, be up 24-0 at halftime. You can, that'd be great. But just relax, let the game play itself out there. Because sometimes you're playing basketball with your little brother, you let him get the lead, just come back and take it back.
So 45-6, 38-10, both picking Michigan.
Here's the last thing I want from this game. I want to see Bryce Underwood strike the Paul Bunyan pose. That's all I want. That's all I want in this life is just give me a shot of Bryce Underwood striking the pose.
With a bunch of Michigan State fans crying in the background.
Go home happy. The Rivalry Podcast is part of the Varsity Network from Learfield and the River Podcast Network from River Radio Ministries.
New episodes out every Monday.
Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening right now, and follow on social media at RivalPod and RivalPod.com.
And if you like what you hear, share with a friend so they can listen too.